Okay. So, Inside Out 2 smashed the box office. Got to be objective about this. This is a Pixar film. Smashed the box office. Hasn't broken even yet. That is important to note. These films, generally speaking, have $150 to $200 million budget. We don't know if that's actually gone up, by the way. That's been a pretty stable guess that people have had on these films for quite some time. So it may actually be more, but we don't know. So Inside Out 2 has, done pretty well. Pretty well. So basically, Inside Out 2 is expected to top 155 million at the domestic box office for North America once all pennies and dollars have been counted at the end of the day. When was this released? June 17th. Yeah, I think that did happen, to be fair. It says, with more than 60% of the audience in the first days being made up of women and a large percentage being adult women, Pixar's latest is not only their second best ever box office haul for an opening, it's also a bona fide feminine phenomenon. So I think what's interesting about this is, so they're trying to claim it was bigger than the likes of Frozen 2 or second to Frozen 2, if I remember rightly. I think the important thing to say about that is actually when Frozen 2 came out and these other films came out, which are sitting, around this total or a little bit just below it domestically, those films technically would have actually had more bums on seats than Inside Out 2, because Inside Out 2 has now the phenomenon of variable ticket pricing, right? Which is the thing. So, there's more expensive tickets and then inflation as well. So actually less people technically have seen Inside Out 2.
Yeah, actually about 12 million. So if you compare the opening weekend of this Inside Out 2 to something like Barbie last year, Barbie had 13 million butts in seats.
Oh, okay.
And this had 12 million butts in seats for its opening.
Yeah, there you go. So, I mean, the fact. I mean, this article's like, it's a smash hit made up of women and adult women. Yeah, that's kind of big. It's a cartoon. It was going to be women and adult women. To be fair, that is the demographic for this. That was always going to be the case.
Yeah.
But anyway, it says expectations going into the weekend were for Inside Out 2 to reach $80 million. Clearly, doubling the projection is a tremendous win for Disney, while the company still seems to have significant hurdles, bringing boys back to their entertainment offerings, Star Wars, etc. They'll get another crack at solving that problem later this summer with Deadpool and Wolverine. Ultimately, these sorts of wins might even be enough to keep another proxy battle away for Disney's board of directors, where serious scrutiny has been a focus of the last years. Unlikely. I would say unlikely. Do we have the total that they... I'm not sure if the total here is what was the total for the box office? It was 200.
It was just shy of 300 million, if I remember correctly, globally.
Really, for the whole weekend? I think
it did. I think it did pretty well. The biggest numbers I think that we should be focused on, though, are the $176 million gross in the States, because
that's really good.
Yeah,
it's really,
and again,
good.
that number also includes, excuse me, yesterday, which was Monday, to get to that 176 million. So you got 176 million plus internationally 157 million. So you're at over 300 million so far. There's a decent argument to be made that they're closing in on budget recovery. So,
production budget recovery.
Yep.
Not profit. Not spending. Sorry, the marketing budget or anything like that.
Yeah.
So Inside Out 2, all the box office records Pixar sequel has broken. Second biggest domestic animated movie of all time, at $154.2 million, and second largest for Pixar. Not bad, So behind Incredibles 2 of $182.6 million. Now, again, remember, Incredibles 2, when was that Incredibles 2 released? Because that was quite a while back. So
that was a long time ago.
If you adjust for that inflation, that'd be massive by now, to be fair. Like 182 million back in Incredibles 2 days. It's mega money today.
Well, and then
not actually as good as what people are saying, basically.
What I think people should also focus on is that Wish came out last year and flopped promptly. This movie surpassed Wish already on its opening weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real thing, And, Incredibles 2 was like 2018. on the same production budget of $200 million. So,
yeah, well, I like, I give it its props. Like, I'm not down on the film, right? I haven't watched it. It's not my kind of film. I don't care. I'm not going to watch it. I watched the first one. I can't even remember why, but I thought it was fine. It was fairly enjoyable for what it was. But you've got to comment on the nonsense from these people, these writing these articles. It's the biggest opening for an animated movie worldwide at 295 million. However, that is only the case when using current exchange rates and in like-for-like markets. So, is it actually the highest?
They had to do a bunch of like weird stuff.
Yeah, do you see what I mean? That's a bit weird. Bit of a weird one. Bit of an odd one. So where do we think this is going to go then? Because I've had some people in my comment section saying this movie will easily gross $1 billion. It's going to absolutely dominate $1 billion. But I'm not down on the movie. I'm sure the movie, will do very, very well. But there is Minions 4 or Despicable Me 4, whatever the film is, the new Minion,
Yeah, I think Minions.
The one with the Minions in it. That's
4,
coming out very soon. Very like in 2 weeks' time or something like that. So
I think you'll see. I think you'll see Despicable Me 4 do very well, but I think this is going to eat into the box office. I really do, and that's a shame, right? Because Despicable Me 4 was going to do great guns. This luckily released ahead of time. It has no competition. It doesn't get competition next weekend either, and so therefore, I think it's going to have a good box office run. When you look at things that are similar or films that were very popular, like you mentioned, Incredibles 2, you're not getting a like for like comparison because of that inflation that you keep mentioning. But I don't think people realize that there could be up to $100 million in difference in performance, or even more.
Massive. Again, even just with variable ticket pricing, that makes a huge difference as well.
Yeah, and the other thing that I don't think anybody's mentioning, I should say, is that the explosion of premium format screens has only continued to grow. So you have larger screens with larger dollars brought in. So yeah, I don't. I really don't. I really don't know how you could even do a fair comparison. Like I said, the only way you can is to count the number of butts and seats. And I think, to be fair, this is just behind Barbie by 1 million seats in their opening weekend. So that's kind of the fairest way to go about it, I think.
Yeah. I mean, look, $1 billion. I don't know. I don't know if it's
$1 billion isn't what it used to be. Yeah, but that's actually true. And this film didn't necessarily burst onto the scene even as much as Incredibles 2 did, as you pointed out. But I don't know if people are going to see it more than once. I don't know if people are going to see it more than twice. I mean, the only reason that you get films that hit $1 billion is because you have repeat visits to the theater. And will this inspire that? Was this a one and done? Because it's so heavily skewed to the female side of the equation, are women going to go back and see this animated feature again? Does it have the same appeal as Barbie does? I mean, there's a lot of questions to be answered.
It's for kids, isn't it, as well? So
that's not the target. Well, I mean, that's not the audience that they polled. Only 26% of the audience here in the States was kids.
That's a weird thing, isn't it? That's odd. Yeah. I think that's odd, I think.
Yeah.
It's an odd one.
Yeah, and think about who has money right now, or ladies, and that can identify with emotions and stuff.
True, very, very true. So, where do you reckon it'll end? Do you think it'll do $1 billion or not? Then
I think it'll be just short of $1 billion. I think they're going to try to hold this thing up, or even if it does get to $1 billion, it's not, again, because of what's happening to because of inflation. $1 billion isn't $1 billion anymore. I mean, it's not. This doesn't mean the same thing. The domestic haul for the you picked out the perfect movie with Incredibles 2. The domestic haul for Incredibles 2 went from 608 million in 2018 to 720 million when adjusted for inflation to right now. So, there's that.
Yeah. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. I mean, I just, what did the first one make? What did Inside Out make?
Inside Out, the original. Let me see if I can put that on the lift here. I think it made it was 2015 when it released. It had a much a less budget. It was only 175 million. It pulled down.
That's why I think when they're saying these films cost 150 to $200 million, they've always cost that. I swear they're going to be more expensive than that. They have to be.
Yeah.
2015, the first one had a budget of $175 million. It's going to be more than that.
Well, I'm not going to argue with you. I mean, because I think you're right, but I think the original Inside Out made $850 million globally. If you adjust its original domestic box office for inflation, because it only made 356 million back then, the original adjusted for inflation box office in domestically was 455 million, which is considerably behind, again, a very popular Incredibles 2. So, I mean, let's face it. I mean, you get around the corner on this, and
interesting.
I maybe this makes $1 billion. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Despicable Me 4 will eat into it. And again, that's not poo-pooing this film. Like I don't care about this film. I'm not trying to be down on it. It's just it's always interesting, I think, to take a look at what films are coming out and do a prediction. Whether we're right or wrong. Quite frankly, I just think it's an interesting thing.
And there's two other things here to talk about. First of all, this doesn't seem to have a bunch of political messaging in it. So yay, right? And then two, the second thing that we're not talking about is they're selling merch.
Yeah.
And Disney has a hard time selling toys and merch and stuff like that now for their stuff.
It's weird that they, like, of all the things that they sort of merchandise that they had ready, they had this kind of ready to go. Or I guess maybe it's an overlap from the previous merch, but that does seem like an odd thing. It's a long time to have the I don't know. It's just unusual because they didn't have any merch for bloody Mandalorian. Do you remember that back in the day?
Yeah, well, they also screwed up and didn't have any merch for the first Frozen film. So Disney's not infallible when it comes to this stuff. They're very fallible.
Yeah, clearly.
But I guess we really won't know until we see what the hold is. But a lot of people are projecting a hold that'll be greater than that won't be greater than 50%. They won't lose more than 50%. If they keep if their hold percentage is only losing 40%, that's somewhere in there. They're going to be better off. This is going to be some numbers. This is going to be some stuff. This is going to be some things.
What a weird movie to be like the summer movie. Inside Out. Again, I'm not poo-pooing it. It's just an odd one. Who'd have predicted that?
Not me. This always screamed Christmas break to me, holiday break to me. But
true.
And again, a lot of that's just because of the time of year it would be. But the other thing is, this isn't the summer movie. I mean, and even Despicable Me 4 isn't the summer movie. It's going to be Wolverine and
no,
Deadpool.
Wrong. Summer movie for kids. Deadpool and Wolverine's R-rated.
Oh well, yeah, I guess you're right.
Actually, slam dunk. You're wrong.
That's fine. I don't mind being wrong. It happens.
But yes, I mean, I think the fight for summer movie is actually between Inside Out 2 and Despicable Me 4 for kids. I think that is actually the fight.
Maybe so.
It's between them. Well, there you go. Anyway, I just thought this was an interesting thing to cover at the start of the show. A bit of a box office review. Inside Out 2 doing pretty damn well, to be honest. So good on it. Again, what will they learn from it? Probably nothing, but it is what it is. What can you do? It literally is what it is. Are they going to learn? Who knows? Probably not. Never mind.